Hello, innovators. The purpose of this conversation is to talk about the Christian practice of hospitality. You've already read a little bit about it, so we want to talk a little bit more about what that means and how it might help us think about identity, belonging, and purpose. Hospitality is the offer of community to those who do not have the standing to expect it. Think about it. All of hospitality is built around this idea of community. Now, community means often that there are insiders and there are outsiders. And when you are an insider, you can expect things. What happens with hospitality is we offer those things that you can only expect from being an insider to somebody who's an outsider, to somebody who doesn't have this standing, isn't part of us, and they can't really expect that they would receive it. The reason that we pursue hospitality in this way is because all of human life begins with God's act of hospitality. God is the one that first showed hospitality. God is the one who created the world. God is the one who invited us to live in it. God is the one who made a place for us. God is the one who said, although you are outsiders, I will invite you into what I have created and I will treat you like insiders. But we have to recognize that God's hospitality came at a cost. We came in, the first persons with Adam and Eve, we came into this world that God had created and we messed it up. We messed it up and we go on messing it up. So we have abused God's practice of hospitality. We have to recognize that God invited us into this pristine thing and then we messed it up. And it's not just that. Not only do we mess it up, but ultimately Christ had to come and die. Jesus came on earth. He lived and he died and he rose again and was vindicated by God, all because of our messing up God's hospitality. God did it in order to restore us, to make us into insiders. Once we were outside, but God in his great love for us reached out to us when we were yet sinners, brought us back into, and now has treated us like insiders again. Much of the biblical idea of adoption is about taking somebody who is outside and bringing them to the point where they have full insider status. Now, the third thing we would say about the Christian practice of hospitality is we practice hospitality because we want to follow God's example. The theologian Miroslav Volf talks about how if it were not for sin, all of us would be like God in just the way that baby bears are like mama bears. We would copy. How do baby bears learn? Some of it's instinct, but most of what they know in the world is by copying the mama bears. We would learn to copy God. We would learn to be like God. We would do the things that God does, and they would come instinctively to us. They would come naturally to us because we have picked them up from God. We would practice hospitality because God practiced hospitality. We would reach across borders because God reaches across borders. We practice hospitality because we want to follow God's example.